clearly a step in the right direction. I intend to support it. I understand it's likely to clear the House on a bipartisan basis. It's nice to see us working together to prevent a government shutdown, and we deal with all of the other big issues that we have ahead of us during this period between now and the time the CR expires. So I'm happy for him and look forward to seeing it pass on a bipartisan basis.
Today we learned that since President Biden has taken office, prices in this country have increased 17.6%. So just think about that for the average American family. Their purchasing power since President Biden's taken office is eroded by almost 20%. If you look at it, just food is 21% increase, energy 40% increase, gasoline 55% increase. This is what you get. This is Bidenomics in action. Higher prices, higher interest rates, and lower purchasing power for American families. The President's going to be meeting with President Xi this week. And, of course, China is a huge economic competitor of ours. And I think if we're going to be competitive with China economically, we've got to do several things. One is we got to increase domestic energy production. We have huge resources here at home. The President and his administration have taken us off the playing field when it comes to domestic energy supply, and that's something that has a huge impact on inflation. They need to re-engage on trade. This administration has been missing in action when it comes to trade, particularly in that region of the world where China operates. If the United States were engaged there and doing business with other countries in that part of the world, it would make us not only much more competitive but much more secure, because trade is a national security issue as well. So I would hope that tomorrow when the President meets with President Xi, that he talks about and gets America on offense on issues that will impact our economy in a positive way, make us more competitive with China, and lower the cost for American workers. And that's dealing with energy, that's dealing with trade, and that's engaging on economic issues that are important to the pocketbooks of every American.
Well, this past weekend, I attended a number of Veterans Day activities all across the state of Wyoming. You know, these are the warriors who provided for our freedoms and keep our nation safe and secure. And at event after event after event, I heard the same message from Wyoming veterans. National security starts with border security. And Joe Biden and the Democrats seem to have missed this fundamental truth. By the time Joe Biden's 4-year term is over at the White House, over 10 million illegal immigrants from all across the world will have come to the United States. How many of them are criminals? How many are terrorists? How many of them are trafficking young children? How many of them are bringing opioids into the country that are killing Americans in record numbers? Democrats don't know the answer to that, and they don't seem to care about the number as well. Joe Biden and the Democrats refuse to admit that we have an urgent crisis at the southern border. They refuse to admit that the crisis and the weakness is brought upon by the fact that they have ignored or reversed rules and activities that have worked in the past to secure the border. Republicans have solutions to keep our nation safe. It's finish the wall. It's DNA testing to prevent terrorists and others from using children and exploiting them. And it's returning to a wonderful program that has worked called Remain in Mexico. It's a program that has helped stem the flow of illegal immigrants. Joe Biden and the Democrats seem to welcome this flood, this incredible wave after wave of illegal immigrants coming to this country. And I will tell you that the brave veterans, those who fought for our country, deserve better than to having our president surrender our southern border.
Well, Joni's not here, so I get to step up a little earlier. So I have some bad news, some good news, and some new news. The bad news is I have a cold, and my voice is going. The good news for you is I'm not going to talk very long. And the new news is I am the senior senator from West Virginia in waiting. So from that, I would like to say, just echo what the leader said in terms of the House CR as it comes before us. I believe it will get a good vote. I'm certainly going to support it and give us a little bit more time to do what our own Susan Collins and Patty Murray have been working on, which is to get more regular order through our appropriations process. We should turn to that. Leader Schumer has had many, many opportunities since we passed these bills out of committee to bring these bills before the Senate to get to regular order, to get us into the conferences that we need to do. So I look forward to having those issues in front of us after we pass the CR and as we move to look at the supplemental as well. These are very important issues as we move to the end of the year. So we're coming up on Thanksgiving also. I think when we see all the turmoil and we talk about it, we know it, we see the pictures and the visions and the just dramatic events going around the country, I think now is a time for us as Americans to really be grateful and thankful for all the things in our lives. We have so much in this country that sometimes we forget to focus on that. And so a little bit of tidbit of news is I was actually born on Thanksgiving Day, and my parents were going to name me Thankful Evermore. So I want to tell you, I'm thankful evermore for this great country I get to live in. Thank you.
Well, I do want to congratulate the future senior senator from West Virginia. Well said.
In waiting. I'm in waiting.
In waiting. I said future. That's true. So it's not lost, I think, on the American people, the irony, the fact that President Biden is traveling all the way out to the Bay Area, San Francisco, to meet with Xi Jinping. I'm just asking, could he perhaps make a diversion and stop at the southern border on the way home to see what's going on in the disaster that's happening as we speak, where many, many Republican senators have been, at least maybe could send his czar, the vice president, down there to get latest updates on the record-breaking numbers we're seeing crossing of illegals in the southern border. Now, I've talked a lot about the threat to our national security in the southern border, around the threat of terrorism, Hamas, Hezbollah coming into our country. But let's talk about the day-to-day threats of crime that are facing the American people. The Biden administration is releasing violent criminals into our country and not keeping track of them. Last month, Boston ICE agents arrested 2 illegal immigrants wanted for murder. One had killed a child under the age of 14. Both men committed these crimes in their home countries. They illegally entered our country and then were released. Since Joe Biden took office, we've seen drastic increases in criminals coming across the border who committed the following crime. Let's just talking about coming across the southern border. Here's the increases since Biden became president. Sexual offenses up 82%. Assault up 503%. Burglary up 504%. DUIs up 585%. We've seen these tragic stories of DUIs which resulted in fatalities on our highways. Murder up 867%. The bottom line is Biden's open border opened up every community in our country to terrorism and now violent crime. Biden's backward policies put criminals first, put American families last. It's time for serious policy reform.
McConnell. Leader McConnell.
Chad.
Good afternoon. As leader, what responsibility do you have to try to lower the temperature in the building right now? We have a senator on your side challenging a witness to a fight in a hearing. We have former Speaker of the House cold cocking a fellow Republican in the hall. I mean, what is your responsibility as leader to lower the temperature in this environment?
Frankly, I hadn't heard what you just indicated.
I can go on. We have one member calling another member a smurf in a hearing.
Difficult to control the behavior of everybody who's in the building. I don't view that as my responsibility. That's something that the Capitol Police have to deal with.
McConnell, are you going to support the standing order resolution in the Rules Committee to basically confirm 350 military nominees en bloc?
We're still working on trying to solve this problem, and so I'm not going to support it this afternoon. We're still hopeful we'll be able to free up these military heroes who are not a part of any of the policy making.
Mr. Leader McConnell, along those lines, how confident are you that you can get the supplemental funding bill passed with all 4 parts by the end of the year?
Goodness, well, we hope so. We're certainly going to have the time now to do that, assuming Speaker Johnson's proposal passes the House. Senator Schumer and I both support it. We hope it'll pass the Senate. It gives us until January and February to get the job done. So that's what we hope to be able to accomplish.
Mr. Leader, do you think Senator Mullin should face